And in the end, you know, they crucified him because the intolerance on the planet at that time was so great.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're looking at celebrities who torpedoed their own careers.
No, it was a shooting weekend.
A shooting weekend?
Yes, just a straightforward shooting weekend.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 20, Emily Maitlis.
Oh, I wonder about the timing of your book, Rod. You've called it The Great Betrayal.
Despite being the journalist who got the scoop about Prince Andrew, Emily Maitlis eventually left the BBC with her career seriously damaged. You'll still hear her on the Newsagents podcast, where she continues to dine out on Andrew's demise. But why did she leave the Beeb?
You pretty much say that the Remainer argument is that all leavers are basically racist and xenophobes.
No, I say that was one of the big tropes of the referendum campaign.
In the end, she got in trouble for her lack of impartiality too many times, including by taking barbs at Dominic Cummings following the Barnard Castle fiasco. But the most damning moment was an interview with Rod Liddell in 2019, in which she openly accused him of being racist, which also broke impartiality.
Would you describe yourself as a racist? Because many see you that way.
Well, no, obviously not.
She was reprimanded many times and eventually resigned in 2022. Number 19, Kirstie Allsopp.
So this is the first time I've said this publicly. In June, I smashed my kids' iPads.
If you want parenting advice, look no further than property expert Kirstie Allsopp, who had some words of wisdom about iPads back in 2018. She appeared on Jeremy Vine to talk about the dangers of mobile gaming, advising parents to stop their children from playing games like Fortnite.
There's a game called Fortnite and another one called PUBG.
Dreadful.
And I decided that we'd made all sorts of rules and all sorts of times when we've said you can't play them. All of those rules got broken.
Her solution was smashing the iPads that she'd bought, which led to so much backlash that she ended up announcing she was leaving Twitter, though she's done that countless times now. She later appeared on GMB and doubled down on her stance.
Whenever these things happen, I don't back down, I say the truth, but I don't deliberately go into them.
But it reeks of being out of touch when she broke the expensive iPads rather than sell them or even give them away.
Two-hander.
It was remarkably easy.
Go on.
But the second
Show us what you did.
I would
love to do this. This is like that, right?
And do you know what?
My
goodness. And I haven't...
Number 18, Nadine Dorries.
I think the future and the longevity of that broadcaster should be brought into question and should be, particularly when it's a receipt of taxpayers' money.
During her tenure as the Culture Secretary, everyone's favourite romance novelist turned politician decided that Channel 4 was public enemy number 1. Throughout 2022, the Tories were toying with the idea of selling Channel 4 and privatising it in an attempt to drum up £1 billion. Which sounds like a lot, but in the context of government spending, is negligible.
That just because Channel 4 has been established as a public service broadcaster, and just because it's in receipt of public money, we should never kind of audit the future of Channel 4.
She then appeared in front of a select committee to justify her plan, where she revealed that she had no idea how Channel 4 was funded, believing it was funded by taxpayers rather than by advertising.
But Channel 4's not like the BBC. It's not in receipt of licence fee money. It makes its money from commercial operations.
And so, although it's,
Dorries is now trying to make a name for herself in reform, having left the Tories, while her Channel 4 sale was ultimately cancelled in 2023. Number 17, Rishi Sunak.
Prime Minister.
Gosh, hello. Sorry to have
well,
kept
thanks you. No, not at all. I know you've been in Normandy.
Yeah, it all just ran over. It was incredible, but it just ran over.
There are plenty of reasons Sunak's political career is over, with the botched Eat Out to Help Out scheme, which did lead to a rise in COVID infections in 2020, chief among them. But that wasn't an interview. And one of his worst moments came when he was trying to defeat Keir Starmer in the 2024 election. The writing was on the wall for the Conservatives, but Sunak didn't help himself by making these comments about Sky TV, saying that premium satellite television was something he didn't have as a child, making him relatable.
Right? Famously, Sky TV. So that was something that we never had growing up, actually.
But the bigger problem was that he'd cut D-Day commemoration short that year so that he could sit down for this ITV spot, which he later apologised for.
What happened was completely wrong, and the Prime Minister has rightly apologised for that.
Number 16, Laurence Fox.
Show me a single self-respecting man that would like to climb into bed with that woman, ever, who wasn't an incel.
His mainstream career has already ended after his Question Time appearance, but then he ended it for a second time by making these comments while appearing as a pundit on GB News. While criticising some of journalist Ava Evans' comments about men's mental health, he decided not to unpick her arguments, but instead to comment about how he'd never be able to bring himself to sleep with her.
She tweeted that the remarks made her feel physically sick.
Fox was so offensive that he was dropped from GB News, along with Dan Wootton, who didn't question anything Fox said. He's now mostly faded away other than losing libel cases and getting arrested over his anti-ULEZ campaign.
I'm shocked by it, actually. I'm shocked that it went out.
Number 15, Katie Hopkins.
The recipient for the 2020 Campaign to Unify the Nation trophy is Katie Hopkins.
She didn't actually know she was on camera when this happened, and most of her career immolations have come from the things she posts on Twitter. But Katie Hopkins' fade into irrelevance does correlate with this infamous YouTube prank.
After months of planning, we had actors, dinner at the Four Seasons, flights, hotels, a trophy, cameras, and a top-tier racist.
It looks like for all her complaining, deplatforming Katie Hopkins really has worked. She's just gone mask off too many times, slating everyone from immigrants to people of color to LGBT people to the mentally ill and the disabled. It's not clear who Katie Hopkins does think deserves basic human rights.
Archie and I spent the entirety of the evening charming Katie, ensuring she was fully relaxed and happy as she dined on 5-star food and drank top-notch wine.
Her rant about Muslims and epileptics caught on camera was the final nail in the coffin.
So she, I believe her name was
Number 14, Phillip Schofield.
When did you first meet this young man in question? What were the circumstances?
I was invited by a friend of mine to go to a school.
His own actions had already prematurely ended Schofield's gilded career, but this BBC interview hardly endeared the public to him. After being stabbed in the back by ITV, which is how he describes it, he went to the BBC to do a tell-all interview about his mental health and the illicit relationship that tanked his career.
In my statement, it says, consensual relationship, fully legal. I mean, that was approved by both sides.
His insistence that the relationship was fully legal, in his words, only made it sound all the dodgier, since most people don't have to caveat their relationships with, by the way, it's totally legal. He did return to screens for his desert island getaway, but it seems doubtful that his TV career will ever be revived. Maybe he'll be on Big Brother in 20 years.
You've had a workplace fling, and you lie about it. And a great many people would have had a workplace fling and lied about it.
Number 13, Melanie Phillips.
And where our interests lie, as the West's interests lie, is in neutralising Iran.
Her journalistic career somehow managed to survive the time she tried to argue that we should destroy Iran on Question Time, enough for her to reappear on the programme in March 2024 to talk about the war in Gaza. She showed up and immediately began spreading misinformation, saying that the UN was wrong about whether aid was being allowed into Gaza, and that the UN itself had been infiltrated by Hamas.
You laugh because you don't know. I am telling you.
But hang on, Melanie, in fairness, the UN says that not enough trucks are being allowed in, and that children are dying of starvation.
This was already disputed, but now the UN has officially concluded that the Israeli government was committing genocide, with the effects of the famine plainly visible. The UK has even now formally recognized Palestine, along with many other countries.
The UN has had its own operatives in UNRWA, the Relief and Welfare Organization, who are members of Hamas, dozens and dozens of them.
Number 12, Rylan Clark.
We need to talk about Nigel Farage, don't we?
Yes, we do.
He was the one doing the interviewing this time, filling in as a relief presenter on This Morning alongside Josie Gibson, and decided to wade into the debate around immigration. He conceded that immigration is good for the economy, but then parroted the same old talking points about the UK running out of room and giving away free iPads.
This is the narrative we're being fed. Here's the hotel. Here's the phones. Here's the iPad. Here's the NHS in reception of your hotel.
Tim Campbell was there to dispute him, thankfully, pointing out that every country in Europe was dealing with migration. Many were left wondering why Rylan has a gig presenting This Morning at all, rather than just sticking with pure entertainment.
So we might not have an election till 28, 29, but what
To be
he's
honest, I
saying
think
is...
we need something soon.
Number 11, Prince Andrew.
Why have you decided to talk now?
Because there is no good time.
Believe it or not, the powers that be really don't like it when we show Prince Andrew's Newsnight interview, so this time around we'll settle for just showing you one of the 2 dramatizations of the biggest career implosion in British history.
How did you first become friends? How did you meet?
Well, I met through his girlfriend.
Now, arguably, Prince Andrew, now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, didn't have a career beyond his service in the Royal Navy, which already ended decades ago, but he's been forced to disappear from public life and shed all of his titles in the wake of the Epstein scandal.
Quite often, if I was in the United States and doing things and he wasn't there, he'd say, "Why don't you come and use my houses?"
The allegations against him would probably have annihilated him regardless, but this abysmal interview with Emily Maitlis was one of the worst PR missteps in history. Undoubtedly, Andrew will never regain public favour.
And I had taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking for a party.
Number 10, Kerry Katona. The former Atomic Kitten singer was once a popular fixture on TV, even winning the 3rd series of I'm a Celebrity.
She's only just arrived. Apparently there was an accident on the road this morning and she's just managed to sit down.
Just got in time.
But her career suffered a downturn following this calamitous appearance on This Morning in 2008. Katona blamed her slurring on medication for her bipolar disorder, but Phil and Fern, as well as many viewers, thought she was drunk.
Oh, you know, I was just talking now. That was like within the 2 weeks after the surgery.
Katona admits she is often ridiculed for the interview and still says even after a decade later she still struggles to get production companies to believe in her.
But your speech is a bit slurred. I mean, how are you feeling now? It is a bit.
Number 9, Sarah Ferguson. The former wife of Prince Andrew faced controversy in 2010 when she offered an undercover reporter access to her ex-husband for £500,000.
Being involved in a controversy like that had helped you in a way.
Sorry? What's your question?
But Fergie managed to make a bad situation worse in this embarrassing interview on 60 Minutes.
As soon as I knew it was a scandal, not once it broke, Michael. But don't try and trick me now, because I'm not going to play this game. Delete that bit.
The Australian show billed it as the weirdest interview you'll ever see, and it ended with the Duchess storming off set.
No, nothing. I'm just going to take 5 minutes.
The scandal and its aftermath saw Fergie's reputation hit rock bottom and contributed to her being shunned by the royals, hence her absence from the weddings of Prince William and Prince Harry.
The book is called Finding Sarah. Does that mean you were lost?
Oh, very lost. Are you lost, Michael? Or do you know where you are?
Number 8, Gordon Brown.
Free eye test,
How are
free
you going to
prescription.
get us out of all this debt, Gordon?
It only took 2 words to bring Gordon Brown's premiership crashing down: bigoted woman. While on the 2010 campaign trail, things admittedly looked dire already for Labour, which had presided over the deeply unpopular Iraq War and then bailed out the banks. But we don't think then PM Gordon Brown helped his case when he encountered Gillian Duffy.
It's a disaster.
He was filmed talking to her for Sky News, but was then infamously caught out by a hot mic incident when he derided her after getting back into his car.
Everything. She's just a sort of bigoted woman that said she used to be Labour. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Later, he was forced to apologise to Duffy and then sit down for an hour to talk to her about her views on immigration and how Eastern Europeans were supposedly stealing everybody's jobs.
Number 7, Kevin Keegan. Despite a glittering career in football, Keegan will always be best known for this rant during the 1995-96 Premier League season.
A lot of things have been said over the last few days. Some of it almost slanderous, and we've never commented.
At the time, his team, Newcastle United, was busy throwing away a 12-point lead over Alex Ferguson's Manchester United.
I think you've got to send Alex Ferguson a tape of this game, haven't you? Isn't that what he asked for?
Ferguson had suggested that other teams wouldn't try as hard against Newcastle as they would against the Red Devils. And Keegan's response was predictably explosive.
I've kept really quiet, but I'll tell you something, he went down in my estimation when he said that.
Afterwards, some commentators claimed that Ferguson had won the mind games, and that Keegan's outburst contributed to his team's eventual defeat in the title race.
And I'll tell you, honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Number 6, Michael Howard. Many politicians have been embarrassed by Jeremy Paxman, but none more so than the former Home Secretary, Howard. Following his dismissal of Prisons Chief Derek Lewis in 1997, he tries to duck an awkward series of questions with disastrous results.
Did you threaten to overrule him? I was not entitled to instruct Derek Lewis, and I did not instruct him.
Howard was widely mocked for his performance, with colleague Anne Widdecombe later saying there was something of the night about him.
So then I would give you an answer.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I discussed this matter with Derek Lewis.
The fallout from the interview is thought to have contributed to Howard's failed 1997 bid to become Tory leader, though he did go on to head the party in 2003.
But with respect, you haven't answered the question whether you threatened to overrule him.
Well, you see, the question is, what was I entitled to do and what was I not entitled to do?
Number 5, Piers Morgan. Okay, so Morgan's time at CNN was already coming to an end, but his 2014 interview with Chelsea Handler certainly ensured he finished on a low note.
You tweet very amusingly.
I wish you did.
The US comedian's insults were a reflection of American public opinion, with thousands once signing a petition to have Morgan deported. Not fair, guys. We thought we got rid of him.
You're a terrible interviewer.
Well, you just weren't keeping my attention.
Afterwards, Morgan landed on his feet thanks to his role as host of Good Morning Britain, but it's hard to imagine him ever getting another presenting job in the US.
This is your show. You have to pay attention to the guests that you invited on your show.
If they're interesting enough.
Yeah, they are. Listen, it doesn't matter how interesting I am. You signed up for this job. Of course it does. Well, maybe that's why your job is coming to an end.
Number 4, Noel Edmonds. In a 2016 appearance on This Morning, Edmonds alleged that electromagnetic pulse machines could slow aging and tackle cancer.
The other belief I have is that pulsed electromagnetism can help with tackling cancer.
Experts, though, were quick to dismiss his words as gibberish, and even the company that made the machines distanced itself from his claims.
But obviously people are going to get a little bit sceptical with the fact that you keep banging on about this £2,300 box, well, you know the people who were making it.
Since then, Edmonds' only notable TV role has been as presenter of the tacky game show Cheap, Cheap, Cheap. And whilst he was reportedly paid £600,000 to appear on I'm a Celebrity in 2018, his swift exit is further evidence that his career is in decline.
Am I supposed to look disappointed?
Number 3, David Icke. A former footballer and BBC sports presenter, Icke was once a respected public figure.
So you're all in the turquoise, which of course is the colour.
Hold on a sec.
Yeah, that's a good start. Fill your mouth full of sweets.
That all changed though following a 1991 interview with Terry Wogan, in which he declared himself the Son of God and predicted the imminent devastation of the world by natural forces.
The press claim that you claim to be the Son of God.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Yes, you see, the thing is that it's quite funny, really.
Afterwards, Icke admitted he could no longer walk down the streets without being laughed at.
So I'm delighted that there's so much laughter in the audience tonight.
But no,
But just let me say this.
They're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you.
While he has since carved out a career as a conspiracy theorist, we can't see the BBC re-employing him anytime soon. Not before the world has ended, at least.
I am asking no one in this theatre, no one watching this programme, no one on this planet to believe a word of it.
Number 2, Liam Neeson. Whatever was he thinking? Whilst promoting his new revenge thriller called Pursuit, Neeson made a disturbing revelation about an earlier incident in his life.
Did she know who it was? No. What colour were they? She said it was a black person.
After learning that a close female friend had been raped by a black person, he reportedly armed himself with a kosh and went out looking for trouble.
And I did it for maybe a week, hoping some black would come out of a pub and have a go at me about something, you know, so that I could kill him.
Afterwards, Neeson was forced to defend himself against accusations of racism.
It was horrible when I think back, but I did that, and I've never admitted that to it. I'm saying it to a journalist, God forbid.
A New York film premiere and various other public appearances were cancelled, and playwright Bonnie Greer suggested Neeson's career may even be over.
I'm not racist. This was nearly 40 years ago.
Number 1, Glenn Hoddle. After a successful career as a football player and club manager, Hoddle was appointed England boss in 1996. But his tenure came to a humiliating end in 1999 after he appeared to claim in an interview that disabled people were being punished for sins in a previous life.
You and I have been given 2 hands and 2 legs and half-decent brains. Some people have not been born like that for a reason. The karma is working from another lifetime. What you sow, you have to reap.
In a subsequent poll, 90% of people questioned thought he was unfit to remain in his role, and Hoddle was eventually sacked.
The man asked me about reincarnation, which I've been on television and radio before, and said that's a personal belief of mine.
He continued to work in club management, but never again enjoyed the same success. Was that karma, perhaps, Glenn?
I tried to give him an example of why people, you know, are born into sometimes in life in poverty, in material riches.
Let us know in the comments which disastrous interviews we forgot.